Welcome everybody. Today's multi-tool under the spotlight is the Victorinox Swisschamp. Victorinox best-selling multi-tool next to the classic SD. And let's just go ahead and get into it because I think this thing is phenomenal. Starting with the mini tools, as I'm going to call them. We have the classic corkscrew with eyeglass screwdriver that can nowadays be swapped out with little fire starters and tinder screws that will have a tinder in them for starting fires for the campers and survivalists. But me, I do use eyeglass screwdrivers a lot in little things, so that stays put right there. Next up on the list, we have a small chisel. Great little chisel. Not the best placement. If they had filed, instead of having the edge like this, if they had it like that, I think that would be a lot better for the way the tool is angled. I do think that's kind of a mess up on their part, but it's a great chisel. It does the job. It's super razor sharp. It's, yeah, do not mess with that. Ow. Small flathead for electrical flatheads on computers and things. Great tool. Use that a lot. The parcel hook. There's really, how do I talk about this thing without going into depth about what you do and what you don't do? Like, just use some creativity here. You know, it's good for snagging ropes, pulling ropes through. If you've got bags hooked by a rope, it spreads that pressure out in your hands, makes it easier to carry stuff. I don't know, just a good hook overall. And lastly, we have the Victorinox awl with a little eyelet for stitching. Classic stuff. Scale tools, unlike most Victorinoxes, the average Victorinox has just 2 scale tools. Scales are these plastic, sometimes metal things on Victorinox. If it's metal, it's not going to have the scale tools. If it's plastic, it will have scale tools. But everyone knows that knows about sacks, knows it's the tweezers and the toothpick. That's universal on pretty much all sacks. This one, however, is a little different, that they've added a third utensil, a pin. Quite handy little thing. And if you put it under the parcel hook, like so, you've got a decent little grip for writing with it. I've used one of these up already and I've ordered another one. Should be coming here anytime. But yeah, that's the scale tools. This looks like a lot. It's not a lot. Depending on how slim you like your carries. Like some people, even this guy is too thick. If this guy's too thick, then that's too thick. But I think this is a great compact tool overall. Starting off with main knife blade. We have it quite scratched up and used. I've used this thing a lot. Holds up quite well to use and abuse. Small pin blade that I've saved back for the finer stuff that you need a sharper blade for. They sharpen really easy too if you've got half a knack of sharpening. You know, go buy some stones from Harbor Freight or something. Have fun. It's not as hard as people say sharpening is. We have one of the best files in the multi-tool universe. We've got a single grain saw. We have an edge saw. We have, I say saw, a single grain file, edge file, and then like a crosshatch file with like the little fingernail cleaning implement there at the tip. Excuse me, got some burps coming up. The one tool that I'd say that they could probably do without is the legendary fish scaler. No one really uses that. It is handy for, I work with ropes enough that it's handy to put a rope in and push it through a tight area that I can't get to, and then you come around the other side and pull it on through. Like, it serves its purpose, but not for fish scaling. I would rather just have like a secondary saw rather than a fish scaler. Have like two different grits of saws. That would be cool. As you've probably figured out by now, this channel is like half review, half ranting. Like, I talk about the things that I like on the tools or the things that I like to change. I don't necessarily just sit there and say everything's good, everything's bad. I like to talk, I try to talk about the things that people probably don't talk about on some of these tools, the side uses, unusual things, or an aspect of the tool that I think mentally is good. Yada, yada, yada. You get the idea. Scissors. I haven't seen a lot of Swisschamp videos on YouTube, which is one of the reasons why I'm doing this. Like, I do think this is an underrated tool. We have the pliers, as you'll probably know from a previous video of mine. I think these are phenomenal pliers. And also, like in the previous video, which this tool had a cameo in, it does the Leatherman hack quite well. Also looks like a fun little Swiss Army tank or something. You know, just sitting there like, bang, bang. Yeah, it's fun. One of the best magnifying glasses ever. Like, this sucker magnifies good. Like, you go to a store and buy a magnifying glass, it's not going to expand to the detail that this does, unless you buy like a specialty 8-timer magnifying or something. Near as I can tell, this is like a 4 times magnification. Works great as a Fresnel lens for starting fires at the campsite. And you may think, why do they do plastic around this? While I am not positive as to why they do the plastic, my reasoning is that the magnifying lens is glass. And if this was to be metal instead of plastic, the heat from leaving it in the sun or banging it on the, you know, accidentally dropping it or something, would end up cracking the glass. And so to keep the glass from cracking, it's better to have plastic that can absorb some shock or absorb some expansion from the glass for if it's sitting in the sun too long. You know, I think that just makes the tool last longer. I know it seems like a cheap way out for some of you people, but I think this is actually a smart move to make it plastic. Here we have the Phillips with a half stop so that you can get some more tension when doing screws if they're just that tight. Goes all the way open. Great little tool. I think this is well worth. I think this is a well thought out shape and design. It's a number 1, number 2 combo bit, and it's just awesome. Like they flatten the tip a little bit there. You might be able to see that. Like I'll fly. It's well thought out. Great for multiple things. On the opposite side, we have the flathead cap lifter wire stripper with the half stop. Great little thwack to it. Opposite side, we have classic can opener. I will say that while very good and no trouble from that at all, like you can open cans with that, like they say, super easy, I do kind of like Leatherman's a little better. I like the draw opening where you got the can, you start here and go around. This, when you go around this way. And that's the way it's designed, to the best of my knowledge. But to me, if I use this, I do what I do on the Leatherman and go back, work it backwards. It works better that way for some reason to me. Most people say go counterclockwise when using it. I prefer going clockwise. That's just me. You'll probably notice on some of my multi-bladed knives that I have a short lanyard attached to them. And some of you are die-hard foot-long lanyard people. Some of you are die-hard no lanyards at all. You probably even take the key ring off some of your tools. Me, I like to have just a little bit of something with some knots in it. Just look up some lanyard knots. You'll see some fun stuff you could do. And that just lets me grab the tool like that. Because most tools that I want to get that are harder to control are hinged on the opposite side, and it's just easier to just grab that and swing out. Like, I find that just useful enough to have that. And plus, if you go to Hobby Lobby, there's like 1,000 different colors of paracord, different sizes paracord. Have fun, pick one out. Pick one that you think looks good. But yeah, the Swiss tool, or no, not Swiss tool, Swisschamp. Not the Swisschamp XL, not the Swisschamp Work or some of these other models. This is the basic Swisschamp that really kicked off having more than like 3 layers in a multi-tool. And I got mine in the black scales. It can come in red, it can come in like the translucent red and blue. Sometimes there's limited editions. But I got this for like 40 bucks off of eBay. Brand new off of Victorinox site. It's probably like 80 bucks or something by now. But it's just a phenomenal multi-tool. I carry tougher pants with better pockets, and I'm fine with tucking this into a pocket. I do have other pouches that I have made for it over the years that I do use. I tuck it in other ways. It's not too bulky. Most people say that is too bulky. I can understand that, but I think if you're already into tools and multi-tools and EDC in general, you're probably already aware of some pouches, pants, or something that you could use to carry your equipment better. But all in all, what do I think of this tool? I think it's a 9 out of 10. I think the only way it gets not a full 10 is fish scaler. I'd rather just have that taken out. I don't use it that much, and the things that I have said I used it for, I could use another tool for that. I think this is well worth the money. I think this is very capable. It's non-threatening in a lot of knife situations. Nowadays a lot of people are kind of just a little nervous around knives, and I think when this is more the gadgets and gadgets than knife, I think people could probably take that a lot better. I think they would react better to it. But I have used this for over a year now. Often, like, steady. Like, this is almost daily in my pocket, on my belt. Used something on it a time or two a day. It's getting thinner. Uses on some of these tools is getting thinner and thinner, not because they're bad tools, but because I'm getting more tools and newer tools, and I want to try those out as well. But as time goes, I'm probably going to start cycling back towards tools that I like the most, and I know this is going to come back into very solid rotation sooner or later. This is a good tool. I know I'm kind of botching this video up a bit, but I'm going to try to redo better videos of these over the next few weeks or so, because I know I'm not great at doing videos. One thing I do kind of dislike about the Swisschamp is, like, half the tools are all on the same side. So, like, when you go to try to display this thing, and yes, we have the saw. I forgot the saw. Doggone it. Great saw. Best saw in the multiverse. Don't cut myself. That's a lot of stuff. I mean, everything on here, excluding the fish scaler, you're going to come across. And this checks off my list on what I want a multi-tool. And you know what? Let's write this list down as you're going to see history of the channel right here. I'm going to write down a list. What do I want in a multi-tool? What do I want in a multi-tool? knife. That has a good knife. It has 2 knives. Double duty. I like to have scissors. Don't yak on my spelling here. I like to have a knife for scissors cut things differently than a knife. Like, you gotta have one and you gotta have both, because one cannot do both. One can do a lot of the other's job, but they can't do all the things. Pliers. I like to have some sort of a pliers, something stronger than my fingers, because your fingers are squishy and smushy at the tips, just not great at everything. Pliers help take care of what your fingers can't do. And I come across a lot of tinkering stuff where I'm having to maintain things, or I'm doing like boat carving and stuff. I'll try to do a video on the boats that I've made. Small model boats out of balsa wood, not big boats. I like to have a file. Those are... there's actually 2 more things. Hang on. Bit driver. I like to have some way of driving bits. Now, this does not really have interchangeable bits. When I say bit driver, I mean interchangeable. And while I don't use it that often, I like to have a saw. So, Swisschamp. What do I want in a multi-tool? What does this have on that I have written down on that list that checks the boxes? It has a knife. It has 2 knives. It has a pair of scissors. Great pair of scissors. It has a pair of pliers. It has a file. And it has a saw. It does not have bit driver. It does have flat Phillips and various bits on it, but it does not give me the ability to work with Leatherman bits or 1/4-inch bits with any built-in sort of driving holding system. As you saw earlier, I can do the Leatherman hack by slipping that into the plier channel and using that. So technically, this would now cover everything I need on a multi-tool. And in a package that is very, very pocketable. If you're wearing skinny jeans, it's not going to be great. I understand that. But, I mean, that's just good stuff right there. I'm going to leave it there, leave the video here for now, because I'm rambling weird. We'll come back and redo another one. Thank you all for showing up. I hope you all come back again. Until next time, see ya.